Hello and welcome to the Trent Advantage live stream series. Tonight's topic is journalism and creative writing. My name is Shanice and I'm an enrollment advisor at Trent University. Joining me tonight is Ihor Junyk on behalf of Trent University and Teresa Goff here on behalf of Durham College. So how tonight is going to work, we are going to have a quick interview portion where I'll be asking a few questions. After the interview portion, if you do have any questions, you can enter them into the chat box throughout the night and we'll be able to answer those after the interview. So without any further ado, we can get started. So our first question is, so this live stream series is called the Trent Advantage. So what are some advantages of the journalism and creative writing program? And why combine both journalism and creative writing? And how does this program differentiate from other journalism programs?
Wow, it's quite a stack of
Yes.
questions.
It is.
Start strong.
Well, I guess I'll start off by saying you can see one of the advantages of the program right here in front of you. The fact that we've got a representative from Trent and a representative from Durham College, I think, is one of the key advantages of this program. For students entering the program, you get to participate in both institutions and you get all of the expertise of both institutions, which is quite different. So that's something that's, I think, quite unique.
I think that's true. I think it's the power in the pairing. So it's not just college and it's not just university.
Mhm.
You're getting that hands-on and experiential learning that you get at a college,
Yeah.
as well as the sort of deep thinking, deep learning that happens at university.
And I think we can keep going with those
We
pairings
could,
too,
yes.
right?
Journalism, creative writing,
Absol-
those pairings, right?
Absolutely.
Mhm.
And even for the Trent portion of it, you've got a sort of pairing of media studies and creative writing. So,
Yeah.
you get quite a lot. I think that's one of the advantages. You've got the university college combo, the media studies creative writing combo. You get a co-op work placement opportunity as well. So at the end of your time, I think that's quite a lot of varied experiences and educational opportunities that you're going to get with this program. It makes it quite unique.
And that doesn't even touch on the most obvious
Mhm.
advantage, which is that in 4 years, you get a 2-year diploma
Yeah,
and a BA.
that's true.
So
Awesome.
Absolutely. And you asked about why journalism and creative writing?
Yeah, yes. And how it differentiates from other
Yeah.
journalism programs as well.
Well, I don't really know of any other journalism program that combines with creative writing. Do you?
not that I know of, and I don't know, not at all.
So,
Yeah.
just in that case, it's really unique. And they seem like different worlds, but if you start to think about it, journalism and creative writing have often historically gone hand in hand. And a lot of really key imaginative writers have been journalists. Going back to the 18th century with Daniel Defoe, who wrote the first novel in the English language, to people like Ernest Hemingway and George Orwell. But beyond that kind of historical connection, something that Teresa and I have actually talked about quite a lot is the fact that storytelling is the thing that kind of underlies both practices. And whether you want to write YA fantasy novels, or you want to do in-depth feature writing, or you want to do an NBA blog or write for the screen, you have to have the deep sort of fundamentals of storytelling. And that's one thing that we really focus on and that we really prioritize. And then with that sort of education in hand, people can go off and work in whatever medium, whatever genre they want, but they have those skills that they can draw on and use.
I think it's the craft. I think one thing we were talking about, we've talked a lot about our favorite writers. We were talking about Margaret Atwood, and I remember listening to her speak, and she said that when she wrote The Handmaid's Tale, there's nothing in that book that has not happened in real life. So I think that shows that the important interplay between fiction and fact.
Yeah, for sure. Awesome. All right, awesome. So next question, which you guys kind of already touched on, but we can expand a little bit more. So journalism and creative writing, as you guys said, is joint with Trent University and Durham College. So can you explain what exactly a dual degree and diploma is?
Yeah. So, it's exactly what it sounds like. So at the end of your educational path, at the end of 4 years of the program, you end up with both a university degree and a college diploma. You end up with a 3-year general BA in media studies with an option in creative writing and a diploma in journalism and mass media, as well as a co-op work placement. So you've got quite a lot of credentials to hand, a lot of training of various different kinds, like we talked about a minute ago. I mean, both the sort of historical, theoretical, critical thinking side of things, the practical hands-on piece, and also kind of field placement work in the field piece as well. So I think it gives students not only sort of a rich and dynamic and exciting educational experience, but it gives you a lot of credentials to take out into the real world. And I think it gives you a lot of skills to allow you to find a job and to succeed in a job.
And I think also the accompanying portfolio that you'll create throughout that program. As you were speaking about before, you can go into any type of storytelling because you will have covered so many different genres and different types of writing and production as well, audio production, video production.
So lots of different things within the program that you'll experience.
Yes, it's not just writing.
Yeah, awesome. So again, coming off of that, as you said, within the 4 years, you're experiencing both university, college, different experiences at both. So can you give us a little overview of how those 4 years will look like, both at Trent and at Durham College?
Sure, I can start. So you'll come in, you'll apply to Trent, and then you'll come in for your first year at Trent, and you'll be taking various courses. The Writer's Life, I think, is one that you're teaching, right?
Yep.
Yeah. And then a course I'm really interested in is Foundations in Indigenous Studies. It's another course, a few electives. And then in year 2 and year 3, you'll be at Durham College. So in year 2, it's the first year of our journalism program, and it's a foundational year where you learn about how to write for broadcast, how you write news, how you record audio, how you do video, how you cut video. You'll learn about media law and ethics as well. And then when you come into our second year, which will be the 3rd year of the joint program, you go into our working newsroom. So we have an experiential learning experience at Durham College. The first half of your day, you'll be in classes, and then the second half of the day, you'll be in a newsroom, alternating through desks like arts and culture, sports, and then in year 4, you go back to Trent with a couple of courses at Durham College preparing you for your field placement, and then you end with a 7-week field placement.
Awesome.
And in the upper years, in terms of the Trent portion, you divide your time largely between creative writing and media studies classes. So you'll have creative writing workshops where you'll get to write intensively, you'll workshop your work in a really intensive but supportive environment. And you'll be taking a variety of different media courses, some of which are required, some of which you have some choice in, but they really run the gamut. You can choose from television studies, radio studies, podcasting, courses on film. Also, there's the option to take both sort of critical historical courses and hands-on workshop courses. So really, there's the opportunity for students to choose what's most interesting and exciting and kind of tailor their own academic program around their interests.
Awesome. So our next question. So for part of the program, students will be studying exclusively at the Trent University Durham GTA campus. So what are some advantages of studying at this campus?
Great. Well, I mean, if only we could spin the camera around and you could see what's going on over there. No, it's a really exciting time to be here at Trent Durham GTA. We're in the midst of a major multi-million-dollar expansion. There's a huge building going up just on the other side of the camera over there. A 6-story building that combines both learning spaces and living spaces. So there's going to be state-of-the-art learning spaces, big 100-seat tiered auditorium, experiential learning spaces, spaces for culture and social interaction, new green spaces, but also 200 new resident spaces. And that's a real tradition at Trent going back to the very beginnings of the university, that sort of desire to integrate sort of living and studying, living and working. So students who want to live on campus will have the opportunity to have a really sort of intensive, immersive experience and have all Trent all the time, really throw themselves into their education and experience. And it's a dynamic place to be. I mean, you're really close to Durham College, you're close to downtown Oshawa, and just a short go ride or a short drive to Toronto with all of the amenities that city has to offer as well.
Awesome, perfect. And then alternatively, what are some of the advantages of studying at Durham College?
So I'm going to talk a little bit about our program.
Yeah, of course.
I think that one of the biggest advantages for the journalism program is that we're creating a collaborative program between two established programs. So our journalism program at Durham College has been running since 1974. And we have a lot of experience partnering with the community. So we work with the teaching city at the city of Oshawa, and we do projects with the city and for the city. So currently I'm working with students to create a culture map using ArcGIS and Esri story maps. And we have a lot of opportunities to go not just within the community, but also abroad. So if anybody wants to look at the hashtag DC in Guatemala, you'll see what my colleague Danielle Harder is doing currently. She's doing what we call a faculty-led classroom abroad.
Okay.
And so she's taken some of our students to Guatemala, and they're working with a nonprofit organization called Students Offering Support. And what our students are doing is documenting what SOS does in Guatemala with their partners there.
Wow.
And so this is part of a project we've done previously. You can check out DC in Kenya, DC in Guatemala, DC in Peru. And those are some of the opportunities that you have. So you really have a chance to sort of make an impact on your community here in the Durham region, but also internationally as well.
Awesome, that's amazing.
Teresa, do you want to tell them about the global classroom as well?
Yeah, sure. Yes.
It's so kind of unique and exciting. I think you really should brag a little bit.
Okay. So we have what we call a global classroom, and it's kind of like this situation in a webinar, but you stream live as we are here, but you can speak to the people on the other side of the screen. So if we were in the global classroom right now, you would be able to see us and we could see you, and we could speak in real time without any sort of lag. So I teach a first semester course out of the global class. It's called a Journalism Mass Media Fundamentals course. And I partner with post-secondary institutions all around the world. So I work with my colleague Madhumati Deshpande, who teaches political science at Christ University in Bangalore, and we look at the connections between journalism and democracy. And I work with a colleague named Helen Williams at TU Dublin, and we did a 3-hour course on creative nonfiction, where students in Dublin wrote and students in Durham College wrote, and then we read what we had written about place in Blanchardstown, Ireland, and place in Oshawa, Ontario. So it's a great opportunity to have global conversations, live, real time, and to be able to talk to students and guests from all around the world on really important topics.
Yeah, that's awesome. Wow. Perfect. So next question. So this program sounds very interdisciplinary, and students are going to be taking courses in a variety of different disciplines. So can you tell us a bit more of some of the courses that students will be expected to take in the program?
Sure.
I'm looking at you because I'm just thinking there's such a choice, as you already mentioned, from what students at Trent will be able to do for electives, but also within the core content.
Right, and there is quite a lot of core content, so students in journalism and creative writing might not have quite as much freedom as their peers outside of that program, but I mean, there is a lot of variety built in. So I mean, you will be taking primarily courses in creative writing and in media studies. And as I mentioned, media studies is a wide and diverse field that touches on all of the sort of the major areas, the major media, the major genres. So you can take courses on television, on radio, on mass media and war, on digital culture, on gaming, on film. And then lots of courses that will get you to write, to read a lot in order to prepare you to write and to learn what good writing is and how to do it. Those are, I guess, the basics. I mean, Teresa also mentioned that all Trent students, in order to graduate, have to take an Indigenous Studies course, which is something that we're very committed to and very excited about. So that will be, I think, a really interesting addition to the curriculum. And then there will be a certain amount of room to just choose courses for your own interest. So you'll get to choose any course that you want to take that's offered here at Trent Durham. Something in the humanities, social sciences, whatever appeals to you, whatever draws you. So you'll have, quite a lot to choose from for sure.
And then at Durham College in year 2 and year 3, you'll be taking you'll take all of that writing and sort of the contextual critical thinking that you've been doing at Trent, and we'll be focusing it back into writing for broadcast, writing for like TV, writing for audio. You'll be doing broadcast production. You'll be taking a feature writing class that I teach. As I mentioned, the journalism mass media fundamentals course delivered out of the global classroom. So I think there's quite a bit.
Yeah, seems like it. Awesome. This is just a reminder for all of our viewers out there. If you did have any questions, you can enter them into the chat box and we can answer those at the end. But on to our next question, which we've kind of touched on throughout the whole live stream, but hands-on and career-ready experience is really important in any program, obviously. So could you tell us about some of the placement or other experiential learning opportunities within the creative writing program and maybe some examples of what those would look like?
Do you want to?
Sure, I'll go. So I think I've touched on this very heavily. This work integrated learning or experiential learning is sort of the backbone of what we do at Durham College, and specifically in the journalism program. So in the first year, you're going to learn all of the foundations, and in the second year, you'll come into our working newsroom. So you'll still have classes in the morning, but in the afternoon, you'll be in the working newsroom. And so you will be producing content to go online. And if you want to see what type of content our students produce, you can go to chronicle.durhamcollege.ca. And the Chronicle has been running at Durham College since 1974, and our tagline is connecting campus and community. So our students go into the community and they report on what's happening on the college campus, but also within Oshawa and within Durham region. And they report on sports events, they go to sports events, and arts and culture. So that's one aspect of the working newsroom. And I mentioned our international opportunities as well. So we have worked with Colleges and Institutes Canada, as well as Global Affairs, to do projects like last year we did something called Kenya Education for Employment Project. And so we sent Danielle Harder, who teaches with us in the journalism program, to Kenya with a couple of students, and they collected assets which were telling the stories about vocational learning institutes in Kenya, and they brought all of those stories back from all sorts of places that they traveled in Kenya. And we shut down our program in one of the weeks, and we paired the students who went away with some of the students who were still here and created an Esri story map so that anybody looking at it could click through and watch videos or read, listen to stories. So that's another opportunity. And we do cross-program collaborations as well. So our students work with the occupational therapy students to create a newsletter that then goes out to all of the stakeholders within the occupational therapist community in Durham. And those are just a couple of selections. Yeah.
And then we've got the fourth year of the program, which is going to have the co-op placement portion, which is also something that Durham's taking the lead on. Durham College has quite a lot of experience with co-op placements and quite a lot of partners. So are there any partners you feel like you can mention?
Absolutely. So we've had students go to CBC. We have students go to Global TV. We have someone going to Global TV in Peterborough this year to do weather. She was very interested in doing weather. And we've had students at Metroland here in Durham. We have had students go to less traditional news outlets, Mobile Syrup, which is a sort of like an online tech magazine. We had a student who went to Mobile Syrup, sort of blazed a path there a couple of years ago, was hired on, and another student's going back this year. We've had students go to Entertainment Tonight, Much Music, to TSN, to Sportsnet. And basically, if you know where you want to go in terms of a media outlet, we will help you get there. And it doesn't have to be here as well. We have had students go as far away as Brazil and Finland.
Wow. Awesome. Perfect. Next question. So focusing now on admissions, what are the academic or non-academic requirements to get into the program?
Okay. So let me check my notes so I don't steer people wrong. So in terms of academic admissions, applicants need to have an Ontario secondary school diploma, a minimum of 6th grade, 12, 4U or 4M courses, a minimum 70% overall final average, and English 4U with a minimum of 60%. And there are no additional requirements, so you don't need to produce a portfolio or something of that sort. And there's one application process. That's what we touched on earlier on. So when you've been admitted to Trent, you've already been admitted to Durham College for that portion of the program. You don't have to worry about a second application or anything of that sort. And there is the opportunity for students that are already enrolled in other institutions of higher learning. If you're in university already or in college and this program sounds appealing to you, there are definitely possibilities and pathways to join journalism and creative writing. The only thing that we can't do is guarantee that the courses you've already done will count towards the required courses in the program. They might, but that's something that you would have to follow up with an academic advisor at both institutions to make sure.
Perfect. Awesome. Next question. So, although this program and collaboration is new, what are some careers that you expect students will be pursuing after graduation?
We're excited to find out. I think that really this program is designed to create sought-after graduates who are capable of thinking critically, of creating content, of meeting client needs, of working within a media news outlet and newsroom. So I think any type of journalist, be it sort of an online or as a journalist, you need to sort of work on all platforms. So we will be teaching you how to work on all platforms, online, on air, across social media channels as well. So for our part, but our students have gone on to communications careers. Our students have gone into government as well. We've had graduates work at the New York Times, at Canadian Geographic, at the Toronto Star, at CBC.
And I could also imagine that students would be prepared to enter a career in the arts, whether that means writing for print, writing for broadcast, writing for screen, TV, film, professional writing of various kinds for the web, public relations, communications. Students might be interested in editing and publishing. I think that all of these things are potential avenues. And I think that what we're trying to do is to train students to be competitive and to be able to take their place in the job market right now. But the field is changing so fast and so dramatically. We don't even know what's going to be available 4 years from now.
Yeah.
Nobody could have foreseen the sort of the incredible ascendancy of the podcast, for example. So, we're interested in training students for contemporary jobs, but beyond that, I think we're interested in giving students the skills and the abilities to be competitive in whatever the field looks like in the future. To go back to some of the things we were talking about earlier on that focus on storytelling and that kind of competency to move people to impart information clearly and succinctly and all of those things can be translated into whatever new media, whatever new genres appear in the future.
I think that's really important to point out, just that the idea that you will be taught to articulate your ideas, to be able to assess claims and make arguments and tell stories. And I think that those are skills that can be used in so many different types of work.
Awesome. Amazing. So lots of places people will go. So our final question is, if students have any other questions about the program, who is the best person to contact?
I was going to do this. You can contact either of us.
Yeah, but if you have further questions, by all means, contact me. So you can reach me at my email address, my full name, Ihor Junyk, IHORJUNYK @trentu.ca, and I'd be happy to get your emails and answer your questions.
And if you'd like to ask about the journalism portion at Durham College, My name is Teresa, Teresa.Goff, Goff, at durhamcollege.ca.
Perfect. Alrighty. So thank you guys so much for answering those questions. So we are going to move to our live Q&A now. So if you have any questions, be sure to put them in the chat box and we will answer them right now. So our first question is, how has social media and the era of fake news changed the landscape of careers in journalism?
Very interesting. Yes. So as you were reading that, the first thing that came to mind was Daniel Dale. So I would say fake news has created Daniel Dale, who works with the Toronto Star and has been following President Donald Trump and sort of making note of the number of infactual claims that are being made on the president's Twitter account. I think that social media has changed the role of journalism by maybe drawing attention to the fact that we are a discipline of verification. And so I think that it has become apparent that journalists are in the business of checking facts. And so it is my hope, and I think that this is what is happening, that people are turning to news that has been verified by institutions rather than necessarily just finding information on social media. Do you have anything to add to that?
I mean, I think it's a really interesting moment that I think pulls in two different directions. I mean, on the one hand, I think that sort of the social media explosion, sort of the digital revolution has resulted in new kinds of jobs that new kinds of journalism, new kinds of content production that nobody could have foreseen 10 years ago. So that there are all kinds of new opportunities. And some people have seen that as sort of sounding the death knell for traditional journalism. But as Teresa just mentioned, in fact, we could see it the other way, which is, with now these different kinds of media where anybody can write, can publish, can get their ideas out, it's forced a return to some of the core values of journalism because we feel lost in this world without verification, where we can't tell the difference between real news and fake news. And we need to have professionals who that rely on those sort of fundamental canons of journalism and can assure us that the information that they're presenting to us is verifiable and is real and is true and gives us the information we need so that we can make informed political decisions and personal decisions. So it's an interesting moment, on the one hand, all of this new stuff that seems to be pulling the field in new, unprecedented directions, but also kind of reviving, right? And restoring the traditional mandate of journalism.
It's true.
And getting us to think more creatively as well about the ways that we tell stories, the platforms that we tell stories on. For example, if you think about it, the Washington Post has a TikTok account, right?
Got to keep up with the times.
And how do you tell a story across that platform? So I think in some ways it makes it more creative.
Right.
And I think that the pairing then between creative writing and journalism is more needed at this point in time. Just that creative thinking and critical thinking and how they pair together.
Perfect. Awesome. Next question. Can you clarify if the Durham College classes will be at the Whitby or Oshawa campus?
They will all be at the Oshawa campus. So that is 2000 Simcoe Street North.
Perfect.
So in North Oshawa.
And then I guess going off that, another question is how far are the campuses from each other? So this campus at Trent Durham and then Durham College.
15 minutes by car. And by bus, I'm not entirely sure. I should have that answer, but I think it's about 25 minute bus ride. Yeah. They're fairly close.
Yeah. Perfect. Awesome.
And a bus pass is
included.
Yes.
So,
in your tuition. Yes.
Right. And there's a Campus Connect bus, which links all of the various institutions of higher learning here in the Durham region. The stop is right outside the door
down
here.
That hill.
Yeah, just, can't you see it, guys? Right down the hill over there. So you can catch the bus, 25 minutes, you're at the other campus.
Perfect. Our question here, can I change my major to either a different college or university if I decide I don't want to do journalism anymore?
I imagine there's lots of articulated pathways.
Yeah. And I mean, the thing is that at Trent, for the Trent portion, you're not in the journalism you are in the journalism program, but the journalism program is comprised of creative writing and media studies. So those are the courses where you'll have a concentration at the university level. So if you wanted to transfer out and continue on, say, in English or creative writing or media studies, then you would have a batch of courses that you could build on and continue from. But with any kind of switching and transferring that goes on, I mean, these are the kinds of things that you'll have to speak to the individual institutions about, talk to an academic advisor, because, I mean, those articulation agreements, those agreements between different institutions vary institution to institution. So and course to course. So you want to make sure that you're getting the specific facts about the field and the institution that you would want to move into. But definitely seem like there are possibilities.
Perfect. So that is all the Q&A questions we have for tonight. So I want to thank you both for answering all the questions and giving our audience a wealth of knowledge about the program, and giving me a wealth of knowledge as well. It sounds like an amazing program. If you didn't catch the beginning of this live stream, you can watch it on our YouTube channel tomorrow. If you had any other questions about the university or anything, you can send an email to discoverdurham@trentu.ca, or you can give us a call at 1-888-655-5559. As well, we do have our March open house coming up at the Durham GTA campus here, so you can register for that online. It's a great opportunity to kind of chat with faculty, staff, and see the campus as well. And with that, I'd like to thank you guys, and thank you all for tuning in tonight, and have a great evening.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, thanks.